The number one focus for anybody on social media, regardless of whether you have a lot of followers or very minimal followers, your focus should be going from an algorithm to an inbox, and do it over time. Do it for a long period of time. What's going on, everybody? Travis Stevenson here, and welcome back to another episode of Bots in Business. Now, this episode is going to be the beginning of a whole new shift. It's a whole new direction. As you guys know, I'm the CEO of a software company called Chatmatic, and what we do, or I guess what we did, was we automated messenger conversations for businesses, helping them make more money. Well, now what we do is we help any business on social media go from the algorithm, which is unpredictable and ridiculous and changes all the time, to the inbox, which actually gives you as a business owner full control over your business, allowing you to reach people whenever you want. And that's the name of the game. The entire podcast here at Bots in Business, we are going to be shifting to talking more about going from the algorithm to the inbox, what can be done, example ideas, and why we are so, adamant and crazy nerdy about this idea and the potential that it has for you. The great news is we are very early on in the process. At this point, nobody over 100,000 followers on Instagram can use these automation features. So we're going to be taking you guys through part of that journey as well. With me is Trent.
Good to be here.
Doesn't say a whole lot. Hopefully he can chime in with the occasional gem, but let's not get our hopes up. So this episode is going to be called Algorithm to Inbox. This is our staple episode. Going to be walking you guys through a little bit about what we plan to do, but mostly this is for you guys listening and watching. It is to help you understand the value of using social media for what it's for, but not being overly reliant on it. And so to kick it off, why don't you give them your summary of what is algorithm to inbox, what it means, and why what we're doing is so important?
Yeah, I guess what it means to me is, very simply put, getting your followers more engaged with your brand. So leading them, I guess if we're talking about Instagram, leading them into your DMs, collecting more information about them. What's their email address? What's their phone number? So you're kind of creating an omni-channel approach to your marketing strategy in a nutshell. I
would agree with that. I think the reason this is so hard for me is because this cable. So let's fix that. I think he's right. He for the most part, there's so many layers to this, and that's why I want to be able to cover this in multiple episodes. First, yes, right now, algorithms are, as I mentioned, unpredictable. They change all the time. Even if you think you have a handle on the algorithm, you're still in an algorithm. It's like being in quicksand, even though you know you have a way to not die in the quicksand. You're still staying in the quicksand. It's not a very productive place to be. And one of the best descriptions that I have of this, and this is for all of you guys listening, is if you're only in the algorithm, or if you're dependent on an algorithm, that used to be okay. You used to be what we would consider, an influencer. An influencer still to this day, massive, potential, and you have the ability to make a lot of money, and a lot of influencers make a ton of money. Maybe you're listening to this saying, I make $20,000 a month, shut your mouth. I do fine. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't be doing better. And the proof of that is in the fact that when you look in the opposites. So here's a great example. Right now, my Instagram has right at about 7,000 followers. So I wouldn't be what you would consider an influencer, but I do $100,000 months.
What do you consider an influencer?
I mean, I look at influencer as anybody who makes a majority of their money directly through social. Yeah. Because you could say that, if I've got an email list of 140,000, you could say that's influence. I look at it as, yes, that's old school influence. I have influence over people because I have their inbox. It's where you have the influence, I think, that matters. Mm-hmm. So you could have 2 million people on social media, but if you give me an email list of 2 million, I make 100 times more than you. because you're all based on algorithms. And I urge any of you guys who have social media, make a post, see how many people it reaches. And that tells you right there, good or bad post, that tells you I'm limited, right? Like I've got 2 million followers, but only X amount of them see my stuff.
And I know we're going to dive into this in later episodes, but what is it? Anywhere between 3 to 7%?
Yeah, I think like a highly engaging post right now is 8% reach, not 8% engagement. Okay. So you're looking at like 8 to 11% reach, somewhere between 3 to 8% engagement as far as like getting a like, getting a comment. They maybe go to your profile. Like I look at that as like, okay, now I'm actually in a phase where I'm making them make some change in their normal scrolling pattern. I have some control there. So I don't look at like, oh, they saw my post. That's not really control. They scrolled right by it.
And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but 8% of your audience. Now, is that a different 8% if you make 2 posts that day?
Yeah. And so that's the thing about the algorithm, right? Is like it is constantly changing based on everything. Like they factor in time of day. They factor in when your audience is online. They factor in, say, for instance, you're on Instagram right now and I post and you might not see my post, but in an hour from now, you might go and a post from Grant Cardone and he maybe hashtagged entrepreneur. And now when you go to your discovery feed, maybe now I'm showing up because I'm more in that hashtag and they're showing in their algorithm that you as a user are more into that content right now. So it works both ways. The algorithm, and we're mostly talking about Instagram because I think that's where the biggest potential is. Yes, there's a lot that could be done with Messenger and on Facebook, but you get 4 times the engagement on Instagram. So let's just call it what it is. Yeah. Instagram's where the real potential is. Whether you're an influencer right now, you probably make more on Instagram, or if you are a business or a brand that works with influencers, or you yourself has some sort of reach on social, it's probably more sales occurring through Instagram. So let's just, for a while, toss out the idea of using this for Facebook. While it's still great to do, and you can run ads with this sort of stuff, this channel, we're talking about organic reach. We're talking about Instagram specifically. And really, that's what breaks us into inbox, right? So yes, to answer the question, the 8% reach is probably going to change every post. And I'm an example of that.
Does,
yeah. But it works both ways. As the poster, when I post to my 7,000 followers, no big deal. When I post to my 7,000 followers, certain people are going to see that. If they like it, they're more likely to see my next post. So as the actual content creator, I have very little control over it because it's not just about me and my content. It's also about what are you doing as a follower of me.
Am I engaging with your
currently
posts?
Engaging with that sort of stuff. All of that weighs in. Trust me when I tell you, the algorithms that Facebook and Instagram and YouTube have are so supremely intelligent compared to a human being and their understanding of what can be done that, like, we're talking very real time. Good example is many of you have probably said out loud in a conversation, I need help sleeping. And as soon as you open your phone, it's constant sleep help. And in fact, good example was I was looking for custom stuff for an event. And I mentioned it to him. We were at a lunch. I pull up my phone at lunch, and all my ads in my newsfeed were custom pins, custom mugs, custom hats, custom shirts. That's an algorithm. They said, hey, this guy's currently interested in this. Boom. And that's all that you see.
And it's like, yeah, it kind of trips you out a little bit. You're like, I don't
but
love
I like
that. But it's at the same time, it's like they're showing me stuff that I'm genuinely 100%. Interested in. I would much rather have that than stuff that I don't care about.
Example of that algorithm on Facebook, for instance, when I was proposing to Sarah, I was about to propose, I was looking at things in rings and all of that, and I got a lot of information from the ads that I was getting shown, because I was getting shown like engagement rings and like research for engagement rings. There was a page where you could go and like, as you scroll over it, like your price, it tells you what kind of diamond to look for and what the qualifications were. I learned a ton about diamonds from seeing ads about diamonds.
Yeah.
And so I knew when it was time to buy, like I was more educated. So I actually like the algorithm telling me things that I care about.
You're making a purchase like that.
And then what's great is you get married, Facebook takes it away. So now you're not going to see ads for diamonds when you're married because you list yourself as married. You're good, right? Sorry, ladies. We don't get as many ads for diamonds once we've actually bought them. So yeah, algorithms, in short, algorithms are insanely smart, brilliant, crazy cool technology. But from a business perspective, being reliant on an algorithm means that you're on a very, very fragile footing.
You're at the mercy of Facebook.
But you're not only at the mercy of Facebook, right? You're at the mercy of like your followers that day. How are they feeling?
Yeah.
Are they engaging with business that day? Because they might not see your post. So everything changes. You're at the mercy of other people on Instagram. Are they posting more? Are they posting better content than you? It's just having an algorithm as your traffic source is great as your like entry point in. All of you guys who are listening that have thousands of followers, that have millions of followers, trust me, I am a big fan of that as a method of making money, but I think it's the people that don't leverage it. You look at smart influencers, right? Let's go with that. Somebody who's known as a smart influencer. I got guys like, let's use for an example, younger generation, Logan Paul. He's not just on YouTube anymore. He's big on Instagram, but he does things that are off the algorithm. He had a boxing match with the #1 boxer in history, and he sold tickets. And so he's doing things that are outside of that. Now, what's happening with most influencers is they're saying, and I don't want to pigeonhole influencers as not being great business people, but most of them are like, I'm going to open up an e-commerce store and I'm going to sell clothes and I'm going to kill it. And you do. You kill it. Open up a new brand, starts crushing, but that brand is now also committed to only the algorithm. What happens if one day you show a picture of a sports bra and Instagram doesn't like it and you're shadow banned? Business doesn't make as much money. What happens if one day you make I saw an influencer the other day, guy that I follow on Instagram. This was funny. He was talking to a guy on social media about cigars. And he said, the quote was, I don't like Cubans. I like this type. Facebook rated it as hate speech and took him off Instagram. He's got like 1 million followers.
Oh my God.
Took him off Instagram for a few hours because they thought this is hate speech. He said, I don't like Cubans.
But he was talking about
cigars
the whole time.
And it's like, dude, that to me is, but like, what happened to his business in those hours? Nobody could find the link in his profile. There were no swipe ups. There was no sales. Because he's a smarter business guy. This is a different example. I know for a fact this guy's doing more on the outside of that. So, but the #1 focus for anybody on social media, regardless of whether you have a lot of followers or very minimal followers, your focus should be going from an algorithm to an inbox. And do it over time. Do it for a long period of time. Because guys like me who focus on the other end, I focused on inbox and I actually send my email list to my profile so that I can grow my social that way. What you are doing when you're on an algorithm is you're making an impression on people. You're showing them who you are. You're getting them to like you, right? Now, if you have them on your email list, if you have them on an SMS list, now they're way more likely to buy. And that's what platforms like Chatmatic, our platform, allow you to do. And that's what I want to be able to cover in way more depth so that everybody who's watching and listening feels educated to the point where like, hey, I can do this myself, or absolutely reach out to us, have us help you do it instead, right? I don't want to have to manage this. I've got 1 million followers. Travis says I can make more money if I use this algorithm to inbox thing. Prove it. Hit us up. We will prove it. And we will charge you nothing in the process of doing so. So trust me, it's definitely worth it. Now, as this podcast is called Bots in Business, what I want to do is I want to change the narrative around bots. I think anybody listening, and myself included, I hear bots and I instantly think robotic. I instantly think non-personal.
Kind of makes you cringe a little bit. Like
I don't want to interact with bots myself. So like, why would I want to be building them? I've never really called what we do bot creation.
It's automation.
Workflow.
Workflow.
I think that's a way better understanding of what it is, because also bots, I don't think business long-term, like control. I think bots, like you start thinking AI, you start thinking like kind of out of control.
Yeah.
So we're not a bot platform. Can we make automations that can flow through conversations? Of course. That's what we do. Literally, that is what we do. But I want to change the narrative of bots, because that's not what I want to be known for. That's not what I want to be known for creating. I want to help people take their followers from an algorithmic based platform and get them into an inbox, because we've talked about the algorithm. Now let's talk about the inbox. The inbox itself is where you have control. I mean, more control, let's say, because if I send an email that says, hey, get this for free, there are email filtering platforms, ISPs, internet service providers like Google, right? That are going to say, this is spam because he's saying the word free, put it in the spam folder, right? There's a lot of things like that when it comes to email that I don't have control over. I kind of do because I could just change what the word is, right?
Yeah.
The good news is most spam filters, they're not algorithms. They don't change all the time. It's not an evolving thing. It's like, hey, we don't want somebody sending an email where the subject line has a $sign in it. If it has a $sign, throw it in the spam. That'll happen significantly, right? So now when you know the rules, at least you can play by them.
Yeah.
So with email, you can play. Now here's what's great. MailChimp, one of the largest, maybe the largest email marketing platform on the planet, as far as like total users and subscribers in their platform. They had a stat, this was probably about 3 years ago, and they said the average open rate across their entire platform is 16% per email broadcast. Now let's just do some math. 8% is less than, right? The little less than sign,
Yes.
16%.
And 8% meaning the reach that you have.
8% meaning reach on algorithm versus 16% on email. Now, here's what's also great. Most people on an algorithm are like, well, yeah, I got to make content. I have to post it. It's got to be a nice picture. Got to put the filter on it. Got to do this. Got to put a little tweet thing on there. That's what I'm doing. That works. And with email, you don't.
Well,
Email's like, wake up, give your message, link to buy the product, send, good. And it here's what's great. Inboxes are permanent, right? Whereas a story on Instagram, algorithm based, less algorithmic than your feed. But email, it goes to the inbox and it stays there until it's open or deleted.
And I think if we take a step back here and we say, okay, how did we go from Instagram to email? Well, that first inbox is obviously the Instagram DMs. And I think that's so important because now you have their undivided attention. Social media is full of so much noise. People just swipe in and, going
Well, and there's
real
a lack
fast.
of connection. There's a million different reasons why an inbox is so important, especially a social media inbox or on Instagram, the DM, right? Direct message. What's cool about what Instagram made available, it's the same thing that Facebook's had available now for 5 years. Instagram now, you can automate the inbox that you have on your business page. So if somebody sends you a message and says, hey, I was looking for your book, you can use platforms like Chatmatic to look for the phrase, word book. And if a sentence contains the word book, you could send a response that says automatically, hey, it looks like you're looking for my book. If you have any questions, here's a link where you can grab it. Now, automatically, they're getting an answer to their question. It gets way more advanced than that. There are, like we've talked about in plenty of episodes previous, there are really two forms of this. There's a like inbound and an outbound method, right? There's a reactive and a proactive. Yeah. Reactive is, hey, somebody's messaging my brand. I want to react. Most big brands, Shopify stores, for instance, somebody says, hey, I'm looking, do you have a free shipping? Any deals coming up, whatever. You could react to these things in real time. That is going to make you more money. By reacting, you can also say, hey, no problem. Hey, looks like you're looking for shipping. Do me a favor, just so they keep in touch. Give me your email.
Now you can be more proactive.
Now in email, you can be more proactive. And we get 24 hours to remarket, right? Yep. So let's say we set up an automation in Chatmatic for the Instagram inbox that says anytime the phrase contains shipping, send the message, are you looking for help with shipping? If they say yes, walk them through your shipping flow. If they say no, okay, no problem. Looks like something else is needed. I'm going to message somebody from our team. We'll go in and chat. And in Chatmatic, you can actually live chat with them as if it's your Instagram inbox, which is pretty cool. You don't have to use a mobile device anymore. But then 2 hours later, no matter what the response is, you could be like, hey, just wanted to make sure, did you get an answer to your question? If not, I'm going to make sure that somebody gets you. Yes, you did? Okay, great. Just for hitting us up, just for being a subscriber, here's 10% off your next purchase. Good for the next 72 hours.
Boom.
Make more money.
Yeah.
And hey, if you want 10%, give me your email. Incentive to get email. Hey, you want 20? Give me your SMS.
Yep.
And now you've got an SMS list and an email list. Now you control 3 of their inboxes. This is omni-channel marketing. This is almost what I guess you would call, I'm always weary of using this phrase, although I do like it. omnipotence, because that's like an all-powerful, that's very godlike in the definition. So I don't want to say you are now a marketing god, but like I kind of want to say it.
Well,
it just
I
might
think
not be true.
You're a true business at that point.
Right. And that's the biggest thing, right? The message for today that I really want to get across is, think about that. If I have an SMS list, I can SMS broadcast whenever I want. 5 times a day if I want. And there's a couple of case studies from the Shopify niche where on certain days they will hit 3 to 5 times their list. Reminders, different deals. A Black Friday, for instance, from 8 to noon, we're having one deal. From noon to 3, we're having another deal. From 3 to 5, we're having another deal.
And a lot of that's segmented, right? It's not like they blast their entire list.
I would say most
day.
likely not, but some do.
Some do.
And it is what it is, especially with inbox, with SMS. There's no like variable. There's no like email. If you start getting lower open rates, you're going to get significantly lower open rates because your list inactivity is too high. SMS, we don't have that. Twilio sends text messages if you want to send them. Now, here's where real businesses take control. This idea is about to literally get injected with PEDs. I'm gonna inject it with steroids, this idea.
Okay.
So don't hold it against me. Hyper segmentation is the future of marketing. Take that to the bank. Hyper segmentation of your audience is the future. Let me give you an example. Influencer has a book, a cookbook, a programming thing, a store, a YouTube channel, right? Just because somebody likes you and maybe they like you for your fitness, but now you open a cookbook. Not everybody wants that. If you have a Instagram stories post, right? It would look like, I'm on my phone. Hey guys, I'm just releasing this new cookbook. If you want it, DM me cookbook and I'll make sure that you're on the list when it's released. People DM cookbook, the ones that are interested. You automatically reply. You say, hey, here's the deal. Put in your SMS number and I'll SMS you when it's ready. When they put in their SMS number, you can, inside of our platform, tag them cookbook.
Yep.
So now when the cookbook is out, you're only SMS broadcasting the people that want the book. This is the secret to marketing going into 2021 and in the future, and I'll tell you a little bit about why. This is about to get super technical. So there's 2 options for you. Try to read more about it and understand it, or just take me at my word that like I'm a pretty good marketer and that this matters. You probably all heard about iOS 14. Well, iOS 15 takes privacy to the next level. Long story short, email marketing works based off engagement, right? If I send an email to 100,000 people and very few of them open, the providers of the email inboxes that see that are reporting back to my email marketing platform that's hosting my list, saying, hey, he only got about 8% opens. There's a couple of spams in here. We don't like this dude. Yeah. Email autoresponder now says, well, to protect all of my other clients that are using me for email, I'm going to push him to worse IP addresses. He's going to get worse delivery. Your list starts to fade, right? That's one sort of mass overview of how this works. So engagement is incredibly important. You want opens, you want replies, you want clicks to your emails, and you want minimal spam. How do you do that? You do that by hyper segmenting the messages that you send. If I send an email list to 10,000 people that said they wanted to know when my cookbook is live, I'm more likely to get opens, I'm more likely to get clicks, and I'm more likely to get responses and less spam complaints than if I have a 100,000 person list, but 90,000 of them didn't ask for my cookbook.
Yeah.
Hyper segmentation is the future. When iOS 15 drops, the reason that's important is because iOS 15, Apple is no longer going to send response criteria to the ESPs, the email service providers.
What do you mean response
So
criteria?
if I open your email, you broadcast to me and I'm on Apple, and I open your email in the Apple mail inbox, Apple is not telling you that I opened the email. So now the decision process for this, spam filtering and all of this is going to be much harder. Google now doesn't know, did I open that email? Right? Or like my ESP is not going to get this response. And this is
that the same with like if they report it as spam or they unsubscribe?
So I think that they're still going to give.
Okay.
On some
So
level, they're
not
still
gonna
going to
give the
report
good
spam.
stuff, they're just gonna give the
exactly.
bad
They're not going to
stuff.
tell you who's engaging with your emails. They're going to tell you who's not engaging. So it's going to make email marketing a lot harder. And this is, by the way, something you should absolutely read up. iOS 15 update. Read about it, especially when it comes to email. Read about it. Privacy is going nowhere, guys. Privacy is a major concern for a lot of
Sure,
people.
it'll be something that we talk about in the future.
And there will be more changes to this. It could
Yeah.
get worse, right? Where from a marketing standpoint. Now, how do we as marketers overcome that? We do that by hyper segmenting our list. We should only be broadcasting our list to subscribers that actually care. One of the biggest mistakes in email marketing right now is I've got a list of 100,000 people and, 70,000 of them haven't opened an email in 6 months. You shouldn't be sending emails to them anymore. If they have not opened an email from you in 6 months, they're no longer interested. They're just too lazy to unsubscribe, or you're hitting their spam box, so they're not seeing it anyways.
Yeah.
So get rid of them, because now your autoresponder, your email platform is going to reward you and say, look, now he's mailing to 30,000, but he's getting 40% opens.
And I think a lot of people would be like, well, I mean, I don't want to get rid of 50,000, 60,000 people. It's like, but those people aren't doing anything.
They literally haven't opened an email from you in 6 months. They are literally doing nothing but costing you, especially because most email platforms charge you by either how much you send or how many people are on your list. So if you go from 100,000 to 30,000, you're going to save money and increase your engagement rates, which means you're going to be more profitable. Now, all of this is why the idea of algorithm to inbox hit me like a literal lightning bolt, because I've been marketing for 12 years online, coming up on 13. And actually it was 12 years ago that I bought my first stupid car as a young kid. So I'm probably at 13 years. So 13 years online, I've sent, I would say easily I've sent 40 million emails.
You're a teenager. Your career as a
Yeah,
teenager.
wow, that's weird. That sucks. So I've sent millions upon millions of emails, and I've had to deal with 20 different email marketing platforms. I've started my own email servers. I've mailed all kinds of different leads in different niches, and I can tell you engagement rate's important, but this idea of algorithm to inbox, if you are somebody who relies on social media, likes social media, is trying to grow your social media, the real importance for you shouldn't be getting a bigger social media following. It's while I'm growing that following. Yes, I want this channel as an arm of my business, but remember that if all you are is a social media influencer, you have them on that channel, you don't have sustainability. You don't have what happens if somebody takes that channel from you. So what we want to do here at Chatmatic, and you're welcome to go to chatmatic.com, check out more about what we do. We want to help anybody go from algorithm to inbox. Now, there's some really important things that we teach that it doesn't matter where you're listening in from or what your background is. The opportunity here is massive. Right now, 10% of all people on Instagram have over 10,000 followers, which in my opinion means they're trying to grow a business. I have 7,000 and I'm trying to grow a business on it. So, I mean, let's say rough estimate, everybody over 10,000 is trying to use this to make money.
Yeah.
That's right around 1.2 billion people, 120 million people. There's 1.2 billion on the platform, give or take. 120 million businesses that aren't doing this, that need it. It was just released. This functionality of being able to automate the Instagram inbox, ask people for email, ask people for SMS, walk them through a lead generation path. And again, the hyper segmentation, right? If you ask somebody, were you born in October? And they say yes, tag them as October. And in October, send them a birthday text message. Hyper segmentation is going to change the game. And now we're mixing hyper segmentation, which is very profitable. We know that now. If you hyper segment an SMS list, it's going to get better responses. Same thing with email. Mixing that with the ability to collect hyper segmented information. So through a funnel, through a sequence, through an automated workflow sequence, you can't do that in email. Or you can't do that on a landing page when you're collecting name and email. You're not asking them when your birthday is, are you married? You can do that in a conversation if that's part of your offering, right?
Yeah, right now they're just doing swipe ups to their store or whatever.
Right. And a great example would be, let's say you're like somebody says, okay, Travis, how would I hyper segment my list? Okay, so ask, are you shopping for yourself or somebody else? That little question right there, tag them as self-shopper. And then now you can at least broadcast to people who want to buy for themselves. You could ask them, are you male and female or non-binary or whatever it is. Now you can send them stuff that matters to them. Yep. If you're a female, Do you ever shop? Do you ever think you would shop at our store for a significant other? Yes. Okay, cool. Father's Day text messages to that person. Like
Christmas.
There's a lot that you can do when you now have more information about the users. Now, our platform also syncs with external platforms, so you'd be able to get that information over to like a Klaviyo or a whatever mailing platform you want. But the idea is this: hypersegmentation through workflows and sequences. All you've got to do is lead people from your channels to an inbox. That now gives you control. The amount of money that you can make when you finally have control will shock you. Because again, if you're trying to promote your cookbook and all you can do is do swipe ups, you're not getting the most engaged people, and you're also not getting your biggest fans guaranteed, because there's an algorithm involved. Not everybody who's your biggest fan who wants the book is going to see it. Business owners who are watching and listening know this, because there's a conversation in their head already going, yeah, I remember when I launched this one shirt, I get 20 emails afterwards that are like, hey, I didn't get notified. And it's because, yeah, I was only on an algorithm. Now we use email, now we use SMS, and you can make a boatload more money. Chatmatic has SMS and email, with emails done through a third party, but email and SMS built in. You can send broadcasts, you can build them into your workflows. It finally puts you in control. One software allows you to automate the workflows, collect lead information, hypersegment, and broadcast. And in short, that's why I'm so freaking geeked up about what we're doing at Chatmatic, because I know the value of not being stuck on an algorithm and being instead in control in an inbox. And the little quote that I will leave everybody with today, and it's something to think about. Oh, when it comes to making money, I wanted to say this. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it for yourself, or realize if you know this information and you know this stuff and you know how this stuff works. We have had a ton of success internally growing an agency because people are like, I don't want to have to do this. The brand that makes these boom arms doesn't want to have to like figure out how to do these automations and get people off the algorithm.
They could hire somebody, but then they have to hire somebody. They got to pay them a full time.
If they're hiring them full time, right?
Yeah.
And then they got to learn that skill. Now we can come in as an agency and say, look, for $1,000 a month, I'll make these things. Our software makes it easy enough to do it so that anybody could learn. So there's the agency play. There's doing it for yourself. And those are the two big ways that you guys can actually, leverage this and make money. And whether you're an influencer or you're somebody who's just sitting at home looking for something really cool and fun to do, this is a massive opportunity to be able to get started very fast and start making money. And what I think is great is this other revelation that kind of hit me. There's a lot of people who are maybe listening to this that are influencers on social media or would consider themselves an influencer on social media. And they look around and they see other influencers killing it. And they're like, what is the difference? I'm posting the same kind of stuff. And I guarantee you the difference is those ones that are killing it have more control off platform than you do. So you're either an influencer or a business person. And most influencers think they're a business person because they're making a lot of money. But I hate to break it to you, you're not a business owner. If I am a billionaire and I want to buy companies like yours and you want to sell, right? I'm sure most influencers would take a couple $1 million for their e-commerce store.
Yeah.
But I walk up to you and I say, okay, if I buy this from you, how do I get traffic? And you say, oh, I've got this great 2 million person following on social media. Well, I can't buy your Instagram. If it's a brand, I could, but if it's just you individually as an influencer, I can't. I can't be you, right? So, okay, well, that's how I get traffic. I make sales that way. It's all algorithm. So you mean I'm going to pay you $2 million for this thing that I have no control over? It's all based on whether or not Instagram wants to keep me on the channel. What if Instagram shuts me down for whatever reason tomorrow or shadow bans me? Am I really at no sales? Not buying it.
You're not worth $2 million.
All of a sudden, we shift that. I've got an email list of 50,000 people. I've got an SMS list of 65,000 people. I generate this much money every time I send an SMS broadcast, this much when I send an email broadcast. I've got this cyclical calendar of events that I promote, blah, 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 blah. Got it. Now you're worth $2 million because it seems like you are not stuck on just the social media aspect of it. That is what I want to leave everybody with, because if you're an agency owner or you want to be an agency owner and you really let that sink in and resonate, there are 120 million businesses that could use some more legitimacy, being off of a platform that's dictated by an algorithm. And you can make a lot of money by understanding that and teaching them. And then if you are the influencer, if you are the business owner, the amount of money that you can make by using softwares like mine to get people from an algorithm to your inbox and control that inbox by sending emails and SMS, all of your promotions will make you more money. And for the first time in my career, 12 years in, I know that our product in the first week, 90% of the users who actually use it will make more than what it costs to run the software. And I feel like that's a really cool thing that we can now do. It's an easy like cost monthly to make sense of, because like it's only starts free, goes to $97, and it's like, wow, I sent one text message and made an extra $4,000. I didn't have to post any content. I didn't have to check in on my likes. I was in the Bahamas somewhere and got up and went into Chatmatic, hit SMS broadcast, sent it, and I made money while I was sipping Mai Tais. Like that sounds freaking phenomenal. And that's what email has done for me. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Whenever I send emails, some of the times I'll send them because a great example is last year I was on a trip. I was in Switzerland. I got off the plane. I was literally in a truck, in like a SUV being driven to my hotel. And I was like, this is a good time. I'll send an email. And while my daughter is sleeping, my wife's looking out the window, I sent an email, and that just happened to be when we were enrolling for one of our big programs, and we did like $15,000 that day. And it was just phenomenal to think, like, I don't have to be in an office and do that. I don't have to make a social media post. I don't have to rely on algorithms. I had control of an inbox, and that allowed me to do it. Now, I didn't use text. I only used email. I only sent one email. Didn't use the send to openers, that kind of stuff. There's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
But we want to leave you guys with that information. We want to hopefully have imparted upon you some knowledge that you can share. Going from the algorithm to the inbox finally puts you in control. It makes you a business owner. It takes what you're doing, puts it on steroids, and then hyper segmentation of that is where things really, really get serious. You can make a ton more money, more than you would believe. Scary thought. Instead of sending a text message to 10,000 people, that's just everybody. Crazy how much you would make if you sent 10 text messages to 100-person batches based on like tags and user attributes and things like that. If you know somebody's birthday's in October and you send a 100-person broadcast, you're going to make more off of that person than you would sending it to all 1,000, being like, well, if your birthday's in October, being specific with your messaging is going to go so much farther. So hopefully you take that with you. We will be back with more episodes talking more in depth about this stuff, helping you guys either grow your agencies or your own internal business. We would love it if you, wherever you're watching this, hit a like, give us a 5-star, tell us what you think. We'd love the comments and feedback, specific things that you guys want to hear more about. We'll talk all about it. In the future, we're going to be talking about some of our client campaigns. We're about to roll out some really cool stuff that we're going to be doing with clients, specifically more e-commerce. So we'll be sharing all that information with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for hanging out.